And here we go. From tornadoes to hurricanes, blizzards, and everything in between, you're listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast. Stormfront Freaks are former television meteorologist Mark Massaro, collegiate senior in atmospheric science Brady Harris, digital meteorologist and weather producer for The Lift on the Weather Channel app Dina Knightley, freelance on-camera meteorologist and former Weather Channel meteorologist Kim Cunningham, and I'm your announcer and Skywarn Network radio operator Mark Johnson. Now, here's the moderator of the Stormfront Freaks podcast, amateur storm spotter Bill Johnson.
All right. Well, hey, welcome to the most entertaining weather podcast on your listening and viewing device. This is the Stormfront Freaks podcast and Stormfront Freaks Raw. Hey, thanks for listening. And those of you watching, especially all of our new listeners with the National Weather Podcast month going on. I think that's been a huge hit, and we'll talk a little more about that. But if you're new to the show, welcome. Sit back, enjoy, have some fun. If you get a chance, subscribe to the show. You can either do that on YouTube if you're watching. We'd love for you to subscribe because then you get informed when we have some new shows scheduled. Or if you're listening to us on a podcast app, like iTunes or something like that, you can subscribe on there as well. That just guarantees you're going to get notified when the new material is available to you. But hey, this is episode 23. Our guest is storm chaser and owner of Severe Studios, Kory Hartman. We'll also be discussing the role of live storm footage in getting the public to be able to act, and also maybe talk about what would be the drawbacks to that. And don't forget to stick with us for the next hour, because when we wrap up the show, we'll have the hilarious Weather Fools and our good, useful WX resources. Hey, those of you watching live will be monitoring Twitter as well throughout the show tonight. So you have any questions, you have any comments, just go ahead and tweet those out with the hashtag StormfrontFreaks, and we'll try and mix those in as we go. So, hey, everybody.
Wait, I got a question. I heard Bill Murray is going to be on.
I know. When's he going to get here?
I loved him in the movies. He was awesome.
Matt, what movies? Which Bill Murray we talking here, Maz?
Groundhog Day, right?
Yeah, you know what's so funny is I got to teach 395 sixth graders the last 2 days about meteorology because they're doing a balloon launch, and so we turned them into junior weather launch officers. And the cutest kid stood up at some point and said, "How does it feel like to forecast the weather every day and it be the same?" And I went,
That is awesome.
"Okay, think for a second, and I'm not too quick on my feet. So, I go, where you going with this?" And he goes, "You're in Groundhog Day. It's the same weather every day." And I thought, what a cool kid.
And then he went, "Why, you little."
Yeah.
So I've lost control of this show already, and we've just gotten started.
Oops.
But
It's off the rails.
rails. That's cool.
Oh, sorry.
Just jump in and talk anytime.
Sorry.
That's right. Here's the key. This is the main part of the show I wanted to get to, which is to let everybody know that's watching or listening to us. I think everyone now knows this, but everyone always looks and sounds better with a drink. Right, so we're going to go ahead and introduce the team, find out what they're drinking. MJ, we're going to start with you. What do we got tonight? And by the way, MJ.
Yes.
I found out just tonight MJ got a promotion with his county ham radio network operator group.
That's pretty cool.
So tell us about your promotion with your ham radio group and what you're drinking.
Yes, it's fabulous. Well, tonight I have a classic Captain and Coca-Cola here in a nice Coca-Cola glass. So we're enjoying that. And then, yes, I am now the assistant Skywarn manager for Kanabec County here in Minnesota. Wow.
Wow.
That's cool.
That's pretty cool.
It comes moving on up. Move.
Yeah, there you go.
It comes with great responsibility and great, nothing else. So there you go.
Before you know it, you'll be the president of the United States.
Do you get access to, I was talking with Kory about this yesterday. Do you get access to NWS chat now that you're the assistant vice president or whatever?
Yes, and a tattoo and a special handshake. It's great.
Oh, wow.
No, actually,
Cool.
I mean, I get some bulletins and updates and things like that directly from them, yes.
Very good. All right. So tonight what I'm drinking is, we've got baseball opening day is coming up around the country. And here in Cincinnati, opening day is basically a national holiday. But there is one of our brewing companies here in Cincinnati is Mad Tree. And they do a red India Pale Ale, so a red IPA called Rounding Third, which is kind of in honor of Joe Nuxall, who used to be a Reds pitcher and a Reds color commentary radio guy. But Rounding Third, it's an IPA. It is a little bitter. I mean, this is a bitter IPA. They usually are, but this is definite one. But it's just opening day's coming, so I'm excited about that.
Joe wasn't bitter, was he? Was he bitter? Joe was a nice guy.
No, he was not. That's true.
Yeah, I know.
He needs to have something more smooth, and that might be Marty. But hey,
so
then we got Brady Harris up in Columbus at Ohio State University. Brady, what are you drinking? And you just had spring break, but
you still
drinking margaritas and
I had a couple more. I had a lot more Coronas than I did margaritas, just because it's the beach and you just kind of have to. But so tonight I'm drinking some Maker's Mark whiskey, not chugging it. It's just I'm sipping it right now. This was actually my brother gave.
Opened it yet?
Yeah, no, I've opened it. Yeah, absolutely, I've opened it. Yeah, I'm pacing myself. All right. This was actually my brother's present to me for him telling me that I'll be his best man in his wedding. So,
nice.
Cheers to that. Cheers to that.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, and then we've got Mark Massaro. We call him Maz, former TV meteorologist in Cincinnati. Maz, what are you drinking tonight? And you're in full Stormfront Freaks garb. I'm loving it.
Well, first I got my Huskers cup. Got to have that. And believe it or not, tonight I'm just having water. I don't know what happened. I'm just like, I gave up beer for Lent, so it's kind of been tough.
But you had wine last show.
Yeah. True. But you kind of ruined it when you had the whole Kroger cough medicine. You were just drinking straight out of the thing.
Hey,
I was like, what the heck?
That happens from time to time. And again, so I talked a little bit about National Weather Podcast Month, which is going on right now. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. But I had asked because Dina and Kim weren't able to join us tonight. So it's this crowd of guys. So I had actually asked if Jen Naramore, who's one of the co-hosts of Tornado Talk podcast, if she could come on, but unfortunately she couldn't join us tonight because she's responsible for some on-air reporting of the storms going on right tonight in Kansas, Missouri.
Are we chickless?
We are.
I can get the most beautiful wife in the world to join us. She just walked in.
Actually, Kory's wife is there. So
that is true.
There you go. Okay.
I could talk in a really high-pitched voice if you want me to.
However, no, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay.
But I will say this: we do have, fortunately, with us tonight, one of the panelists from the Weather Brains podcast. He's also the National Weather Association vice president and president of the Weather Factory. This guy has got all the titles in the world. Plus, he's got a huge hotel background. But we got Bill Murray with us. Bill, welcome. And what are you drinking tonight?
Yeah, Phil, I've got a Snake Handler double IPA from Good People Brewing here in Birmingham. Wow. It's an outstanding double IPA. It was rated as one of the top 20 IPAs in the country by Men's Journal. And local brewery, it's really good. 103 IBUs. I don't know what that really means, but sounds good. It's
British.
Citrusy.
Yeah.
And it's really good. And it's 9% alcohol by volume. I have a funny story about it. Bill Reed came and spoke to our local National Weather Association chapter about 4 or 5 years ago, and I took him to the local pub for dinner, Todd English Pub in the Weston, and they have such a great beer selection. He chooses this one because it was 9%, really cool name, and he loved it. He had 3 or 4 of them. And, the next night after the meeting, he said, "Where are we going for dinner?" I said, "Different place." He said, "I want to go back there because I want to have that Snake Handler beer again." So anyway, but I found out the secret for all these preachers, how they handle the snakes. They don't feed them. And apparently they get emaciated and the snakes won't strike. So that's how you hedge your bet on a Pentecostal chat.
That would have helped. That would have helped about a week ago when there was a snake in our outdoor shower.
Yeah, so just don't feed it, Brady. Yeah. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I
had something. Bill, your audio is still a little scratchy. I don't know if there's anything you can do, but it's not bad. And then I'll ask you this, Kory Hartman, our guest tonight. Not your formal introduction yet, but I will ask you: what are you drinking tonight? Anything while you're in the car?
I mean, since I'm in the car, yeah, there's not a lot I could do. So I've got the just the water here. But it would normally be a Corona or Jack and Coke or something like that. But probably shouldn't.
Is that an open container of water that I see in your car, sir?
Of water in the car.
Good one, Maz.
Yeah.
All right. So let's just do this, since talking about water is not the most exciting thing in the world, Maz. And but anyway, I'm going to turn it over to you, Maz, to actually give our guest, the person we're here for tonight, a formal introduction and find out more about him.
Yes, a former television and radio studio engineer, Kory combined his love of weather and experience in the broadcast industry to help create Severe Studios Incorporated. As owner of the Storm Video Broker, Kory, he coordinates and represents a team of over, get this, 60 professional storm chasers, including himself, of course, who cover severe storms for local and national networks like the Weather Channel and CNN. So which is your favorite, the Weather Channel or CNN, Kory?
I don't know if you can you see the hat right there? So,
bam.
So there you go. So that's my favorite, right?
So how in the heck did you fall into that? I mean, what was the love? What was the passion? Or were you like, I like that, but then I like that, but then, so tell me about it.
Yeah. So, I grew up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, so there's not a lot of severe weather up there, but I was always, kind of interested in it. And I'd watch the PBS specials, the Chasing the Wind and all of that type of thing. And it was always kind of interesting. And then I would spend summers on my mom's farm outside of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And there it was like, tornado warnings all the time. And I thought at that time, a tornado watch meant that a tornado was going to come right through my house. And so I nowadays I spend a lot of time teaching people the difference between watches and warnings and some climatology and, the fact that tornadoes can pretty much happen anywhere. But I used to sleep in the basement, no matter if there was even, a slight chance of thunderstorms. And then once I started learning more about them, then, it was easier to live with them. And then I became infatuated with them. And once I started with radio in South Dakota at a job at a country station, we did a lot of tornado coverage. And that's when the idea of storm chasing came to me after the Spencer, South Dakota tornado, F4 killer tornado. And I saw the damage of that up, firsthand. And I said, I really need to go out and chase these things and help the warning process.
So you were basically you were spinning Conway Twitty at the same time you were giving tornado warnings.
Yeah, it was a lot of Tom T. Hall and tornado warnings. So that was the station was a tiny little station north of Sioux Falls in a town called Madison, South Dakota, and it was just a tiny little 3-4 county coverage area. But weather coverage was very important to that station, and they did it right. They had generator at the studio, generator at the tower. It was in an old bank building, so they had converted the bank vault into this secure location to broadcast from. You could go in there and pull this switch down, and you were basically locked in and broadcasting whether you wanted to be or not.
Did they have a toilet in that vault too, or?
Oh God!
Okay.
No, you had nothing. You had what you had, and that was it. So, you take the water bottle with you and hope for the best. But
as I jumped on your question. Go ahead and.
No, I was going to say, wait a minute. I don't hear the accent, and you're a Youper.
I am a Youper there, eh?
Yeah, there it is,
Oh, I can bring it back at any time. Just ask my wife. So, you get me and my dad and my uncle in a room, and pretty soon it's, we go down there to the Green Bay and see the Packers and stuff.
What's a Youper? I'm unfamiliar with that.
UP of Michigan. Youpers. Okay. They're the people that live in the Upper Peninsula. There. So, way up there.
They're up up here.
Yeah.
So Kory, give us what is like, you know, on an active day, what's a typical day look for you? You know, how do you start your day? How do you decide where to go? Who are you coordinating with? What's it look like for you?
Right. So I've got two different things that I have to do. I have to coordinate my team, and then I also have to figure out where I'm going to go. And sometimes, it's as good as looking at what Dr. Forbes puts out and a little bit of model data, and away we go. But really, my day starts with a bunch of TV stations and even national networks contacting me saying, hey, we're going to have severe weather in our area. Are you going to have guys here? Are you going to be here? And then setting all of that up, trying to set up as much of that as I can ahead of time for the live streams and for the local TV coverage, and then hit the road, figure out where you're going to go, try to get there in time without getting any speeding tickets, and catch the tornado. That's the way we do it.
Yeah, and when because I know you have a network, of over 60 meteorologists, do you necessarily ever get into, because I know I would, if there was a particular spot that looked more volatile than, say, another spot, would you ever get into like an argument with someone, that you want to go there? Because I know I'd be like, send me the worst area possible, but I'm sure, they're professional storm chasers, so they want to be sent to the, most volatile area. How does that work?
So last year, obviously, we had the Dodge City outbreak, and
Yep.
The day before that was Woodward, Oklahoma, and about half my team was in Woodward the night before, including myself, and so we only had about a hour and a half drive north to get to the target zone, and so everybody and their grandma was there, but what I did is I tried to stay away from the dirt roads and the big groups of people along the main highway there. I can't remember what it is, 283 or whatever it is. And so I went about 5-10 miles east, expecting one of those storms to kind of make a right turn. And of course it never did. Those storms started south of Dodge City and went straight north through Dodge City, fortunately kind of skipping over the town there. But then I had to kind of make a jog back closer to town, which was good because by then some people had gone in the ditch with the slimy dirt roads in Kansas that were getting wet, and other people had gotten traffic problems and all sorts of things, and pretty soon the roads north of Dodge City, if you didn't have a four-wheel drive, you weren't getting through. So we kind of took it as a tiered approach. Some people got the first tornado in the sequence, and some people got the second and third, and some people got the twins, and I got the kind of the merry-go-round storm that was going on just on the west side of Dodge City, and then further north before the thing got rain wrapped. And so what we try to do is just kind of stage around an area, but when it's really only one small cluster of storms, everybody's going to be there, and then it's just kind of a free for all.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you listening in Kansas, we don't think your roads are slimy. I'm just telling you that right now. Okay, so.
No, trust me, we do. They're slimy.
Slimy roads.
Slimy roads.
Hey, Bill, do you know
Yes.
Kory? You know Kory?
Yes, we've had Kory on our show several times.
right.
Oh,
Always look forward to him being on.
So you like
I'm
him?
probably
then?
banned. I've been on there too many times. Blacklisted.
No, that could never happen. What Kory does is really awesome, and we all enjoy it very, very much. So yeah, he's been on several times. A couple times when we didn't really want to have him on, but we had to have him on because there was a tragedy of some sort, and so
yeah.
But those were not happy visits. But he was the right person to talk to about them.
MJ, do we have I thought you said
Hey.
you maybe had a listener question.
I do, thanks. I was just going to jump in with that. And I was going to say, Kory, by the way, I sort of got my start or interest in weather working for KURO in Huron, South Dakota. So I kind of had a similar setup to what you were talking about. So, yeah, we have a listener, Mark DeBruin, who sent us a question here a week ago or so that he thought he would like to ask you, and you've got some experience with this, so I think it's going to be a good one. He says, Mark says, how does someone go about setting up ways to sell their storm chasing footage? He says he's mostly just a recreational storm chaser, but if I ever happen to get some really good footage, would I be able to sell that to media outlets?
Absolutely, and in fact, that's what I do. For my 65 or so guys now that I've got under contract, that's my main thing is the video broker. And so what I do is I take that video and send it out to all of the networks and basically ask them, do you want to broadcast this? If they say yes, we set a price, and then I take a small percentage, about a quarter of the money, and pass the rest on to the chasers. So we do that for people that are not storm chasers, people that just happen to be in the right place at the right time. Because a lot of people will get tornado video that I consider to be valuable, and they don't know any better. They just give it away. And that's kind of the last thing we want to see happen, because not only does that, lose potential income for that person that shot the video, but also residual income when Discovery Channel and some of those documentaries come and they want to buy it for the fall TV season. But then it also decreases the amount that the professionals can get for their videos if you've got a whole bunch of people out there giving it away for free. So, I mean, everybody's got multiple cameras on every device now, and what we want people to do is realize that if they're one of those farmers and they've got the dual wedges going by their barn, that's probably valuable tornado video. So they can always get in touch with me or any of the other brokers out there, and we'd be more than happy to explain how it works and get them a few dollars for what they shot.
So you want like video and or pictures? Is one worth more than the other, or?
Video's really kind of where it's at right now, especially with how hot, social media platforms are with video currently. I know the stuff that we put on Facebook, that's video versus pictures, will do 1 million views really quickly within about 24 hours if it's really good stuff. And so the eyeballs are definitely looking for the video right now, and of course most of our clients are TV stations, so they want to see video too.
Tell us a little bit, if you can, Kory, about the challenges of trying to keep a storm video brokerage business afloat, because I've seen some come and go, and obviously there's a challenge there. Tell us what those challenges are, and also maybe why you've been successful.
Well, this is our 10th year, so we've seen quite a few come and go too. I'll talk about streaming for a minute, because that's really how we started. And we had the idea for streaming a tornado live to the Weather Service is really where we wanted it to go, and then the TV stations came and said, we really want that video on our TV, and I said, well, I'll be happy to sell that to you. And so that's really how the business started. But it started, from the public service side of things. So it's not all about making the dollars. It was always about letting the National Weather Service have eyes on the storm. And we started with a tiny little eyeball Logitech camera duct taped to a dashboard, and using some very primitive technology when we first started. But we had to wait for the cell phone networks to catch up with our idea. We started 2002, 3, 4, and there was no 4G, there was no 3G, and there was barely 1X back then.
Oh no.
And so, it was less than that at times. And so we really had to wait for the technology to catch up. And so the leaps and bounds of technology and people always wanting, better looking video is one big challenge. I mean, when we first started, our video was about this big on the screen. It was like, 160 by 120 pixels. A postage stamp is what I called it. And people still watched it because it was live and there was a chance of having a tornado on video. But now we're all the way up to HD. We can do, 720p HD with our system, and that takes a lot of bandwidth. So I'm glad 4G is around and becoming very proliferated across the country. And I'm happy to hear that there's 5G and some other upgrades to networks coming out very soon, because that'll make our life easier. The biggest challenge, though, is the amount of traffic that we get during big outbreaks, and that's trying to keep the streaming system up and then trying to just keep our websites up and running. So, you've got web servers and you've got streaming servers, and you have to have a lot of resources that can scale up really fast and really high, but only for about 15 minutes, and then bring it all back down to quote unquote normal levels. And so it has taken us years and years to really perfect what what we're doing. And, just this year we went to a new CDN, a different content delivery network called Pier 5. I got to give them a shout out because, they've done some fantastic things for us.
You're starting to turn me on, Kory. All these letters and numbers.
Letters and acronyms and it's Geek Central. But Pier 5 is a great company, and they've helped us get the video to the masses, because we are moving a massive amount of data. When you've got somebody streaming at a megabit per second, and that person's got 3,000 people watching, you can move a terabyte of data over an outbreak.
Wow.
So let me ask you real quick. So I just happen to be at the right place at the right time. I've got some cool video. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how much I can get for it. So I'm like, oh yeah, Kory, how do I do this? So I'm in the moment and I'm not remembering. How do you make it easy for me to contact you and all that stuff? And how much can I get?
Sure. Well, that's always the question, right? So we'll get to the dollar amount in a minute. But as far as getting a hold of us, I mean, at Kory Hartman on Twitter, Kory with a K, Kory. You can also get us Severe Studios Storm Chasers on Facebook. We answer, just about every viewer comment that comes in over Messenger. You can tweet at me. You can, send a carrier pigeon, whatever you got to do.
Wow, I got one of those.
Do you really? That's awesome.
I'll send you.
I'm calling bull crap on that, Phil. You didn't go get it right now. Actually, no. At the break, I want you to go up and get it and prove that you have it.
He's leaving right now to go get it.
On the roof.
There's no way.
He's going to go to kids'
Try to
room,
attach a terabyte to its leg.
Oh my goodness.
But yes.
Aww.
Yep. Look at. No.
Oh wow.
There it goes.
All right.
I just launched my carrier T-Rex.
Oh.
Okay.
Sorry. Go ahead, Kory. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. No
I
problem.
love your carrier pigeon comment. That's all. I can relate to that more than 4G, 3G, TX,
Sure.
425.
Yeah. Well, I mean, back in the day, so long ago, I didn't really do a lot of texting. And so I had to get a texting plan on my phone, back when you had to pay per message or whatever. And I did that. And then all of a sudden, everybody wanted to direct message me on Twitter. And so I got on Twitter. And then all of a sudden, everybody wanted to get a hold of me on Skype. So I got a Skype account. And now it's Facebook. And, now it's Snapchat. God help me. And, so, I mean, we've got multiple ways of getting in touch. So just find us one way or another.
Hey, Bill, do you got a question for Kory?
Yeah, I wanted to see, Kory, if you talk for just a minute about El Reno, and was that a game changer in any way for the Chasers?
Sure. It's kind of a, somber tune here, so I'll try to, make that segue here in my best broadcaster ability. But El Reno was it was a horrible event, and it was really one that, I don't want to say that woke Storm Chasers up, because I think we already, at least the professionals, even the semi-professionals and the media chasers, kind of understood and respected, what a tornado can do. But that tornado in and of itself, I think, is something that we're going to be studying for years and years. And to have something that is that big, but moves that erratically, accelerates, changes direction, and expands. The tragedy that happened at El Reno was really just a cause of how extraordinary the tornado was. I mean, the people that were doing the research that died that day were the best of the best. And so if anything, it just kind of reinforced what we already knew and what we kind of feared in some circles would happen someday. But to happen to the Samaras crew was was obviously something that we were all just stunned that everybody's life is sacred and important, but we sure thought it would be somebody a lot less experienced than Tim Samaras and his crew that would ever pass away from impacts from a tornado. So I think we were all just extremely shocked. We were awestruck at what Mother Nature did that day, and it wasn't just them. Semi trailers got tossed into the back of Daniel Shaw, and Mike Bettis from the Weather Channel got rolled, and a lot of people who really knew what they were doing got into trouble that day. And I've said this on Weather Brains and other podcasts, and I'll say it here. I think there's video out there from El Reno that we've never seen, and I don't think the people who shot it will show it to us, because there was a lot of spotter network icons, a lot of GPS icons on that map inside of the tornadic circulation of the El Reno storm. Especially if you just look at some of the archives, look at the work that Skip Talbot has done, look up his kind of breakdown on YouTube from the El Reno tornado. I believe it's called Lessons Learned from El Reno. And, it's over an hour, but it's worth every single second of what Skip put together on that. So, it was kind of a game changer for a lot of people. I know a lot of people that like to get close will stay back now. And for some people, it didn't change their mind at all, because they already knew the potential consequences of chasing close to a very large tornado. It's not for the noob, as we say.
No.
What one last question for you, Kory, before we move on? But what have been the changes that you've seen in the chasing industry, over the last 10 to 15 years, that you haven't been so crazy about, that you're not happy about seeing those changes happening?
From a technology standpoint, or just
from just a chasing standpoint, or from a business technology standpoint?
The rise of social media is a double-edged sword, because we can get instant notification with pictures, pictures or it didn't happen kind of thing. And so that's a good thing. The problem is that, just like anything else, the increase in the kind of the drama and all the things that come with being so two-way communication with people. I just think that social media has its good and it has its bad, and it's just like any other technology. I really do think, though, not to toot my own horn, but I really think that it is important work that we're doing with the live streaming of tornadoes, because you can have the best TV meteorologists in the world standing in front of a map with a bunch of colored blobs on it and jumping up and down about a tornado warning. But when you can put a tornado on television and be like, that's passing the, Waukita water tower, then people kind of take notice that,
Right.
Oh, this is real. And it's really coming our way. We should do something with that. We got, an email just a couple days ago from a radio station in Abilene, Kansas. That was the Abilene Chapman wedge tornado last year, day after Dodge City. And, they wrote and just said, we were watching 2 or 3 different live streams with that tornado, and we were able to call out landmarks for people that were listening to the radio station. And while they weren't a client, radio station's not going to buy live video, but they can watch it just like anybody else. And they were giving play-by-play of landmarks and roads and things that those tornadoes were passing to their listeners. And they know that in this case, it actually did cause 2 people to go to shelter, and their farm was, completely wiped away. So that there's direct impact there. And for every one of those stories that we get, there's probably 10 more that go unreported or unrecognized. But I think that's the best thing that has come out over the
and
last few years.
we'll talk a little bit more about that in our discussion after the break. But here's what we're going to do. It's time. We're going to jump to our lightning round, and this is a speed round of fun questions for our guest. So, being a storm chaser, Kory, we're going to play. I'm calling this "Think Like a Freak." Think like a Stormfront freak. And what we're going to do is, so you're a storm chaser. We're going to travel through Tornado and Dixie Alley. And this is from food.com. What they did is they came up with the signature dish for every state, but we're just going to cover the states, some of the states in Tornado and Dixie Alley. Okay.
All right.
And what their signature dish is. So here's how we're going to play the game. I need all the freaks. And Bill, you are a freak this time.
Woo-hoo. I thought so.
I
by
need
the
you,
way.
if you got a
Welcome to the
sheet of
party.
paper, you got some paper, something to write with. It's kind of somewhat a match game style, what we're going to do. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you the signature dish, and I want all the freaks, I want you to write down what state, either in Tornado or Dixie Alley, you think it's associated with. And then, Kory, I'm going to go to you. You tell me what you think it is. Your goal is to try and match as many freaks as possible. So there might be a dish that you know belongs to a certain state, but maybe it sounds like it belongs to a different state, and you think all the freaks are going to think of that one.
What's the abbreviation for Guam?
Right? They haven't been added to Dixie Alley quite yet.
All right. Just checking.
They need to be added to the Union first, and then I
Gotcha.
think they'll be
Yeah.
added.
We don't own
to
them?
Dixie Alley. So, all right. So here's what we're gonna do. So I'm gonna give you the dish. I'm gonna give you just a couple seconds for the freaks. You got to be quick on this to write down what state in Tornado or Dixie Alley it might be associated with, and then I'll start with Kory, and then all the freaks. You're gonna hold up your what state it was. Sound good?
Yep.
We're
Let's
ready
do
to
it.
roll. Here we go. I'm going to start. We'll start with an easy one first. Key lime pie. Key lime pie. What state is that a signature dish in? Key lime pie. And I'm going to go ahead. Bill, what state? Do you, no. I'm sorry. I got to start with Kory. Kory, I blew it already. Kory, what state?
I'm gonna go with Florida. You know, it's not really a Dixie
Florida.
Alley per se, but
Okay, so you say Florida. So Bill, let's hit you. What do you say, Florida?
I say Florida too.
Very good. Excellent. All right. That's one. Brady.
I said Georgia. I'm not sure why, but it just sounded correct.
All right.
that'd be peach.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. MJ.
Here we go.
There we go.
There we
Florida.
go.
That's two. And then Maz, what do you got?
I have South Carolina. No, I have
You gotta
Florida.
show it.
I-
No, you didn't. All right. So you got two. You got two on that one. Here we go with the next one. Deep dish pizza. Deep dish pizza. What state in either Tornado or Dixie Alley is that most associated with? Deep dish pizza.
You
All
know,
right,
you really
Kory,
gotta-
what do you think?
You really gotta, give a definition to where Tornado Alley is. I'm
Well,
gonna,
that's true. That's true.
I'm gonna
See,
go
Guam, right?
with Illinois.
Illinois. All right, Illinois. So we're gonna go Brady. Let's start with you first.
Yeah, I said Illinois as well. And that, I mean, it's in Tornado Alley. You know, it's not necessarily don't get the most, but
Well, they get up there. All right, MJ, what do you got? So that's one.
I had no idea, so I put Kansas.
Not, all right. All right.
I knew a dish there.
All right,
Ba-dum-bum.
Maz.
Illinois.
All right. Not bad. We got two, and then Bill.
I'd have to say El Nino Alley.
Very good. All right.
Throw
So
the
we
climate
got
in there.
three out of that one. All right.
Is it
Here we go.
Luminolles or who in Chicago? Which one would you pick?
Ooh.
What was the question?
We're in
Which
Chicago.
Deep
What'd you
dish
do?
in Chicago would you pick?
What were your
Sombreros.
choices?
Navarro's.
Giordano, right? Isn't that one of them? Giordano.
Yeah, Giordano's absolutely.
That's pretty good. I like Giordano's. All right, next one. Let's go with this one. Ooh, that's borderline Tornado Alley, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Tater tot hot dish.
Ooh.
Tater tot hot dish.
That's
What state is
super
that most
easy.
associated with? All right,
Super
Kory.
easy.
Corey.
Minnesota.
All right, we got Minnesota. So let's go with MJ. What do you got, MJ?
I got Minnesota.
Serious? Oh,
Minnesota. Very good. Maz.
man, I was born there too. But anyway, I had Oklahoma. Anything. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Not quite. Bill.
Minnesota.
I'm going Colorado.
Tater. I don't think they know. Coloradoans even know a tater
I
tot
don't know
hot
if you've
dish
ever
is.
been to Telluride. There was a place on the corner that always had the best tater tots I ever ate.
Really?
Hmm.
Well, tater tots and tater tot hot dish, those are two different things.
Yeah,
Brady,
that was my
what did you
mistake
have?
there.
Yeah, Bill, that's exactly why I picked Tennessee. 'Cause I went to a place in Tennessee. The best tater
Oh
tots
my God.
I've
This state dish is
ever
possum.
had. Oh, right in Nashville. Oh my goodness.
All right, here we go. Next one. We got fried green tomatoes.
Oh my goodness.
Fried
All right.
green tomatoes. What
Ew.
state in Tornado or Dixie Alley, Kory, would you say that goes to?
Me.
Oh, I think that's going to have to be Georgia, right?
Georgia?
Sounds
Okay,
like
so
a
he says
deep
Georgia.
southern thing.
We are going to start with Maz. Maz, what do you think about that one?
I'm going. Whoops, South Carolina. One of these
That-
times, it's going to be South Carolina.
That is incorrect. Bill, what would you say?
I'd say Alabama. The fried green tomatoes are
So-
about a mile away from my house.
So here's the thing. That
Well,
is the correct answer. However, that did not match.
I'm going with that.
But that was the correct answer. Brady, what did you say?
Roll Tide, baby. Roll Tide. Alabama.
Hey, Brady, look, you got to look. I've got my University of Alabama, All-State Sugar Bowl, Ohio State Buckeyes from 2
Wait a
years
second.
ago.
Wow.
You have
That's quite the
Alabama and
service.
Ohio State on the same cup?
Yeah, they played in the Sugar Bowl, 3 years ago.
Oh,
Didn't turn
okay.
out the way I wanted, but anyway, I still honor it.
Brady, by the way, you
Okay.
didn't match Kory on that one. MJ, what did you come up with?
I'm sorry, we're all over the map. I had Mississippi.
Y'all are aiming all around.
That was
Close.
Alabama. All right, we're gonna do one more since we didn't do so good on that one. Let's see. Let's go with barbecued beef brisket.
Oh, that's easy.
Barbecued
Oh, I got that
beef brisket.
Just got to find a space. on my
Corey,
paper.
what would you say?
I mean,
What state?
I'm gonna say that's got to be Missouri because of Kansas City barbecue. My favorite.
Okay, so you
I'm
say
gonna lose
Missouri.
again.
Bill, we're gonna go with you. What would you say?
I might be correct, but I'm going to miss.
Wow.
You would be correct. It was Texas, but however, you did not match. Brady, what did you
You
have?
know, I'd say down in the bayou, down in good old Mississippi.
That was not correct. MJ,
Great barbecue down
Southern
there.
regional geography.
So, so it was for me. It was between Texas and I didn't pick it, so I said Missouri.
Oh, wow. Well, that matches, and that's the game we're playing is match game. So, and Maz, what did you have?
So it doesn't matter if you're right. Is that this game?
You're trying. Corey's trying to
Basically.
match. That's
It only
what
matters
counts.
if I'm right. That's
I
the
know.
only thing.
All right. I had what's that, Los Angeles, Louisiana.
That would be like
All right.
gumbo or something.
Let's finish them off. I'm going to finish them off and just go around the horn. Amish sugar cream pie. What state? Anybody?
Oh my goodness. that's
Iowa.
not Tornado.
Iowa.
Iowa, yeah.
No, that would be Indiana. How about corn dog?
That's corn. Oh, yeah,
Corn dog.
Iowa, corn.
Iowa.
That is
Corn.
correct.
Corn Huskers.
How about gumbo? I heard that already.
Louisiana.
That's
Louisiana.
right. How about this one? Fried ravioli.
St. Louis, Missouri. On the
Italy.
hill.
That is Missouri. How
Bill,
about
you
this
should
one?
be heavier. I don't know.
I know. Love to eat. Can you tell?
Maz, here's one for you. Runza. What is Runza?
Oh,
my
that's
God.
Nebraska. Yeah,
I don't even know what the hell that is. What is
it's
it?
awesome. You got to try it when you go to Nebraska.
It's like a
You
fast
get the
food
runzas
Italian
when you
meal.
eat it, though.
No.
That's good. All right. What do we got here? Chicken fried steak. Anybody on that one?
Tennessee.
Tennessee? Yeah.
No, that'd be Oklahoma.
Oh, Kentucky.
The last one. This is for you, Kory. Beer battered cheese curds.
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, baby.
Oh yeah.
Another borderline tornado alley state, but we'll go with
Several
that.
of those were borderline.
But, yeah.
All right, hey Kory, let me ask you this: you ever been out storm chasing or spotting storms, and people were just kind of wondering why you were going towards the storm, and people were coming away? You ever had? And you kind of felt a little naked, like
all
people were looking at you funny.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: so feel naked no more, because Severe Weather Center and WeatherProShop.com, they literally have you covered. They got stylish Skywarn clothing line of performance material shirts. They got these. Check out this new era flex fitted caps that say Storm Chaser on them. These are really sweet.
Nice.
Or better yet, show the world you're on official business. Let WeatherProShop.com do the heavy lifting. They'll actually create for your chase team or your spotter organization custom apparel and photo IDs. And the other thing that's kind of cool, though, because we have a lot of spotters and chasers that listen and watch to our show, they've got these great NOAA-sourced quick reference training guides. And I've got a couple examples. One of them, which I just love, this is probably my favorite, is it lists the east side of the U.S. and the west side of the U.S., all the National Weather Service WFOs.
Oh, nice.
And their spotter telephone numbers to call. So if you're out chasing and you're in an area maybe a little different from what you're used to, there's some spotter numbers with the maps of what area that covers. I think that was great. They've got some reference materials on hail. So you can, if you're out and about and you want to measure hail, see how close it is. They've got some reference materials. All these are laminated.
Is that to scale?
Yeah, it is. It is actually to scale.
So you just hold it over it?
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah, and
That's
it says
cool.
if it's like golf ball size and then what size that is, because obviously you don't want to report that to the National Weather Service. And then those you too, they got some reference material on radar and tornado debris signatures and how to read that. Some great materials. So all of those, if you're a spotter, net controller, chaser, great stuff. You can see it all at WeatherProShop.com. So we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. Our podcast listeners are going to hear the latest edition of our new Titans U Minute with Chris Sanner, featuring storm chasing tips. And our Raw viewers, those of you watching now, you're going to see us doing what we do on breaks, which is drink some more and talk crap, I guess. But hey, either way, don't leave. We're going to be right back with Kory and the team to discuss getting storm video footage to the public and maybe what the drawbacks might be to that. All right. Quick break.
Boom.
Yep.
Hey, I remember we were on the air
Keep it
once.
quick.
We had a lady who called in and said we have teacup size hail, and we were all like,
Teacup.
how big is a teacup, guys?
Yeah, exactly.
Unbelievable.
So MJ, I have a question.
Yes, you do.
You guys have all the really cool, women panelists, and you also have sponsors. How did you do this?
Well, that's Phil's question, not mine. I'm just the technical producer.
Oh, well, how did you do that, Phil?
A lot of it, Bill, is something that we were always considering. And obviously this is not, having, and really you guys have done outstanding, obviously with Weather Brains, but it's not a niche market that it's not a niche market to make money. And we don't do this to make money. We're all having fun. But I always thought it'd be neat if we could at least pay for expenses, because this is a hobby for us. And so the benefit was, and I didn't want to do the kind of the way to raise money where your listeners and viewers support like Patreon and stuff like. I just thought, I want to keep it free, especially if we can get people that will help support us. But I wanted to always keep it weather related. I don't want to have, a commercial on Tide laundry detergent or something stupid like that.
I use that. That's great detergent.
So one of the things, Bill, that helped was when we started simulcasting on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV.
Nice.
It helped with the numbers and stuff like that. And so at that point, I really started reaching out initially to people that we had already maybe built some connection with in the weather industry and just said, hey, here's what we're doing. And really, I mean, I'm basically giving it away. All I want to do is just help cover our expenses a little bit. But it really is a great way if you have weather products or weather services to know you are getting weather people, right? As opposed to spending a bunch of money to advertise on regular radio or TV, and you don't know who the hell you're getting.
Right.
You know, with the weather podcasts, I know exactly I'm getting the weather people that I want to listen to this. And Kory also is helping to support us through his SphereStudios.com and everything. And it was something I wanted to do as we were getting into, because we had some good guests coming up, and I knew we were going to probably get some better numbers. So I threw some emails out and I just asked, and some people, wanted to be a part of that.
Hey, Brady.
Good for you.
Brady?
Yes.
Did Phil just say there's no money in this?
Phil,
Sorry, guys. See you later, guys.
Phil, I was promised $1,000.
Sorry about that.
Tear up that fake contract.
You told me I would never have to work again, Phil. What?
I paid to ship. I paid to ship your Stormfront Freaks material.
When they get out of control, Phil, all you have to do is triple their salary. That's all you have to do.
Triple. That's true. I can do that. I can do that easily. All right. So here's what we'll do. I want to do one quick thing, Kory. If I can get you back on, I don't know if you're hearing or okay, you're there. If I can ask you one favor to do a quick sound bite for us. If you can say, hi, this is Kory Hartman of Severe Studios. You're listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast. You do something like that?
You betcha. Hey, this is Kory Hartman with SevereStudios.com, and you are listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast.
Wow, first take. Great job, man.
One take Blake over here. Come on.
Bill, I will not ask you to do a plug for the Stormfront.
I can do a plug. I'll do a plug, Phil, if you need me to. I know
we get your plug every 2 weeks, man.
Hi, I'm Leo Laporte, and you're listening to the Stormfront Freaks.
Yeah. Nice. All right, so hey, let's get back into things. So we're gonna just have the discussion. The discussion is gonna be on, and I'll set it up, but talking about Kory talked about this a little bit already, but trying to get the video of the storms in the neighborhoods to the public, because they're more likely to react when they see it and it's happening by them and all that stuff. So I want to talk a little bit about that, what it takes to be able to make something like that actually happen. But what are the drawbacks if you're trying to mass do that? And I think we're at the early stages of doing that a little bit, but on a mass level, I mean, we're certainly not there. But do we want a mass level of storm chasers and footage and trying to make all that happen? I mean, certain parts of the country, obviously we are, but that's what I want to talk about. So
you say
sound good?
Maz level?
Maz. No, I did not say Maz.
Oh, okay.
Actually.
Just checking.
All right, we ready to roll?
Yep, let's
Go ahead and count me in.
All right, here we go. In 3, 2.
All right, welcome back. I'll tell you what, let me go ahead and set up the discussion we want to talk about. So several studies have been done, and a lot of people know this. We just recently had Dr. Laura Myers on the show. Bill, I know you've had her on the show a number of times on Weather Brains, but studies have been done that show that people are most likely to act to a coming storm, whether this is a tornado, a hurricane, things like that. They're most likely to act if they see the actual footage and destruction near them or in their neighborhood. And Kory, you were talking a little bit about that already, that people react when they see that. So the question I want to start talking about is, how do we get that video footage in the right hands so that the public can get it? But what are the drawbacks if this is some mass effort being done to try and get all this video footage, get it to the right sources, whoever those might be that are going to be able to get that to the public, whether that's local TV stations or national TV stations or online TV, I mean, whatever it might be. What are also maybe some of the drawbacks to that?
Yeah, so, I mean, one of the challenges right now is the fact that there are so many channels and people's attention is being pulled multiple ways. 20, 30 years ago, you tuned to the one guy in town that was given the best severe weather coverage locally, and if you got the video to that guy, then everybody would see it. Now there's attention split between television, cable, satellite, internet, live streams, social media. I mean, people are splintered. The audience is fractured in so many different ways that you really have to try to be everywhere. And so that is sometimes difficult to be on every single platform and every TV station and every cable channel and every Roku channel that people could be watching at the time. And so, I kind of wish that the wireless alerts that go out on everybody's cell phone, that we could attach something to that. But of course, then you're using bandwidth, and there's probably all sorts of legal difficulties there. But really, just the fractured audience, people just being multiple different places, is really the hard way to get that to people. But if you are the TV station that everyone tunes to in the market, I really think that you have to have live chasers. You really have to have that live content. You have to have something else to cut to besides the guy pointing at the map. The guy pointing at the map is important too, and the eye contact and everything with someone that the people trust is important. But then you also have to show the goods, and it doesn't have to necessarily be the tornado that's affecting their town. But if it's a day where big tornadoes are expected, if you can show them one from another town in the state and say, hey, this just went through 30 miles north of you. If we say there's a tornado warning and we've got a pretty good idea there's a tornado there, this is the type of tornado it could be. And it's kind of like scaring the old ladies a little bit, but you kind of have to show people what is possible today, right. Not just what your radar shows.
I agree. And I will tell you, every TV station has their reporters go out, and, they're good at what they do in reporting. But when it comes to the weather side of things, a lot of times it's like, what's going on where you are? Well, it's kind of drizzling here, and I'm like, oh my gosh, enough. Yeah. Where if the stations, I think the big stations that get a small to medium-sized team of chasers will dominate that market. They will totally take over.
Yeah.
Well, and I had a conference call a little bit earlier this afternoon with one of the bigger TV groups in the country, and what they were doing was a severe weather seminar, and it was very nice of them to bring me in on that to talk about how to actually send out your reporters and photographers as opposed to storm chasers. They need the chasers too. They need the experienced guys that'll actually get a live stream or video of a tornado. But if you're going to send reporters out, they have to have some basic radar training, and they need to have a radar app on their phone, and they probably need to have some communication with somebody back at the station that knows what's going on, because they need to stay situationally aware. And that's one of the things that sometimes, they're either going to go out and get themselves hurt, or they're never going to see anything other than the drizzly rain cloud.
Right.
Yeah. Guys, I definitely agree with both of you. I think video has done a lot in terms of really giving people a heads up, because people nowadays hear tornado, especially in Ohio, people hear tornado warnings and they think, oh, it's just another false alarm. So I think video is very, very important. And I agree with all your points about having chasers, having as many chasers as you can. Experienced chasers in an area is really valuable to keeping people safe. Another thing, though, we have to think about is, if people get used to this, is that dangerous? Because, what if there's a tornado that's on the ground where we don't have video? Then people just assume, hey, there's no tornado. It just becomes another false alarm. So I think that, that is not necessarily a potential drawback, but something we have to think about as well, is people might become dependent on the video. And if they don't see the video, then it just ends up working against them, just like the tornado warning might.
Bill, what are your thoughts on that, and where that's going as far as trying to get that stuff either to TVs, local TV stations, or should the National Weather Service at all get involved with trying to get that footage out to the public?
We're going to be lucky if we even have a National Weather Service here before long.
True.
So, but April 27th was our red letter day, obviously, and video set the tone from the first tornado on. When the Coleman tornado showed up on our Skycam, everybody's awareness level ratcheted up. And then John Olshoe in the field sent video from Sumter County of what would be the Tuscaloosa to Birmingham tornado, and that put everybody in that corridor on alert. And by the time that tornado appeared on the Tuscaloosa Skycam, we knew we had a bad problem. So yeah, video makes all the difference in the world. Kory, what are you seeing in the more wooded, hilly type areas, the southeast areas that are heavily forested? Are stations having as much luck getting chaser teams out in the field and bringing back video?
I mean, not really. Down there, it's probably a damage chase for them. We get to see a lot of tops of mesocyclones over the trees, but not a lot of tornado video unless you are watching it cross over a highway corridor, an interstate corridor where the trees are kind of cleared out, that sort of thing. Or you can get, I hate to say it, into a town, or maybe it's near an airport or something where you have at least a little bit of a vantage point and some clearing to see what's coming your direction. But a lot of times in the southeast, it practically has to hit the chaser before you realize it's there, and that's super dangerous. But there's been a few people that have been successful, and obviously TV stations down there with tower cams have been successful as well.
MJ, was there I want to make sure we ask this question. I think we had a listener question for Kory.
We do, yeah, thanks. Kory, Barry Gray, our friend, asks the question if there are any new upgrades coming from Severe Studios.
Sure. So, we talked about our content delivery network a little bit earlier, and that's kind of the geeky side. But the cool thing that's coming is my partner with Zoom Radar is coming out with Android and iOS apps. And the Android app is currently in the App Store. So if you go to your Google App Store, and or a Google Play Store, I should say, and search for Zoom Radar, you will see the new app there. And what's cool about that is you can turn on the chaser layer and watch the videos right from your phone or tablet device, which is something that we've been asked for a couple of years now, and we've finally been able to make that happen. The iOS, the Apple side of things takes a couple weeks longer. They're a little more particular, I guess, about putting things in their store, and so that's going to take a little bit for iOS. But the Android Zoom Radar app is available right now, and be gentle. It's new. It's a new thing for us, and there's a lot of different devices out there. So this is kind of like 1.0 version, but for a lot of people, it's working great. And at Severe Studios ourselves, we'll be putting out a basic stream app here for Android in a few weeks as well. So really, we're going after the mobile users this year.
Hey, Kory,
Sweet.
We were talking in episode 22 about VR. Is there anything in the works with virtual reality and the whole 360 and all that?
Absolutely. So last year we had a project with the Weather Channel to go out and get 360 video. We were successful. During the project, we got 11 tornadoes. 3 of those had successful 360 video. Wow. And when I say successful 360, I mean both 180-degree cameras that are paired up were operating properly. The clips were able to be synced and stitched, and there's really a ton that goes into getting high quality 360 immersive video. There's people that'll go out and get 360 video, and it is you got the black ball at the top and the bottom and that sort of thing. But the immersive video is something that is definitely not super easy to do, and so we were successful a couple times last year doing that. As far as live is concerned, that's a whole lot harder to do and takes a lot more bandwidth for sure.
Oh, cool.
I don't, and I hate cutting that discussion topic short. We didn't have a whole lot of time to go through that, but we are on a little bit of a time schedule, so we'll have to maybe continue that on another show. So Bill and Kory will probably ask you back again. But we always want our listeners, tell us what you guys think. You can comment by email at questions@stormfrontfreaks.com. We always like to share some of those on our next show. What we're gonna do from a time schedule, we're gonna go ahead and take our final break so listeners can hear Brady's Storm School. But the rest of you watching, go ahead and refill your drinks. And when we come back, it'll be time for Weather Fools and WX Resources. Those of you watching us on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV, thanks for tuning into the show tonight. You can always catch more of Stormfront Freaks podcast at our website, www.stormfrontfreaks.com, where you'll find previous shows, links to our videos, as well as ways to contact us. But anyway, thanks again for watching. Tune in again next week. And Kory, thank you for joining us. And let's cue the close.
Thank you for listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast. To subscribe and be notified when new episodes of our bi-weekly show are available, you can go to iTunes, Google Play, or your favorite podcast app and search for Stormfront Freaks. If you would like to contact us with questions or make comments about the show, shoot us an email to questions@stormfrontfreaks.com or follow us on Twitter @StormfrontFreaks. We'd love to hear from you. For show notes, additional information about this episode, as well as past and upcoming shows, videos, photos, and more, visit our website at stormfrontfreaks.com. While you're there, check out the interactive radar provided by our friends at zoomradar.com, providing interactive weather content for web, mobile, and digital displays at cost-effective prices. zoomradar.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/stormfrontfreaks. Join us next time and tell a friend about the Stormfront Freaks podcast.
All right, cool. All right, so we're on a time schedule because we do simulcast on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. So I hated cutting that discussion topic short, but that's the unfortunate, I guess, side of that. But okay, Kory,
Kory's got to go.
Thank you for you and your family for joining us. I know you got to get back on the road and get going. But man, we loved having you on. I will follow up with you in a couple days as well with all the links and all that stuff.
Tell the
you were
family
great, man.
thanks.
Yeah, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks, guys. We
still
got to go. We spilled some sauce in the back seat or something. So I got to go figure out what's going on.
Story of my life.
Yeah. All right. Bye, guys.
Have a
Thanks.
safe
Great,
trip. You're awesome.
great job.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye.
All right.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. All right. So, damn, yeah, Bill, I wanted to keep talking with you a little bit more about that that topic. So I felt bad about cutting that off, but our interview went a little longer. So what do you think about? So I'm just going to quick ask you this, since we're on break and now we're not on a time schedule anymore, but because obviously the goal of the National Weather Service is to notify the public, get the safety, all that kind of stuff, and now we know obviously having that video footage provides more action by the general public, more likely to act, take shelter, whatever, evacuate, whatever it might be. I mean, is this an initiative? Because you've probably talked more with some folks from the National Weather Service than we have. Should this be an initiative of theirs, or should this be something they get involved in or not?
I think they would probably never touch it, because I think they need that space left for people like Kory and the private enterprise, and they constantly are guarding that. And so I think that they're probably always going to leave that up to private enterprise and the corporate side of things to do. And I think technologically it might be something that would take them a long time to embrace and to address. They have some really incredibly creative and talented people, but it's still a bureaucracy to a great degree. And, they really are very careful, how long it takes them to put products out there operationally. And it probably will have already changed several times before they pick it up and run with it. I thought that was interesting that Kory said he'd love to tie WEAs to what's going on locally. He's really thinking entrepreneurially there, because that's really cool. That was a really cool thought.
Yeah, I just, I obviously we know that creates, there's been a lot of discussion on how are people going to react, and the confusion to watches and warnings even. What does that mean? The confusion between
All the
multiple
colors, right?
Yep, colors, multiple now, private industry issuing their own severe storm warnings.
Exactly.
We know what gets people to act is when they see it happening. So how we can do more of that. But I would agree. I don't think it's a National Weather Service thing, or it's way out there if it ever would be.
We had Gina Yasko on the show Monday night, and asked her a lot of questions about social science, and because social science, we've all been trying to embrace it and pushing our way out into it, and trying to begin to think for the end user in a lot of cases. And I think we don't want to forget that our main important job is to get the best forecast out there, and that may have contributed to some of the problems that we experienced in the Northeast last week. Getting the right forecast out there is first and foremost our job, and if we're not careful, we can lose credibility really quickly if we try to think for the end user always. And that's what we've really been trying to do in the last few years, especially since April 27th in Joplin.
All right, well, let's do this. Let's go ahead and figure out who's got weather fools, who's got weather resources. I think everybody here now knows how to share their screen if they need to show something. But who's got for Brady? So Brady, you'll set this up, right?
Yep, I've got a weather fool.
So why don't you go ahead and just take it right out of the break? You
All
take it, set it up for everybody so they know again what weather fools are. You've got one. Who else has a weather fool?
I do.
Bill's got one. I've got one if no one else is taking Governor Christie.
That was mine.
That was mine too. That was literally mine too.
Let's beat the hell out of Governor Christie tonight.
I think
hat trick.
Let's do it. You know what? Let's just come on the air and just pretend like we don't even know that we all said that. Let's just go. Let's just do it.
That's fine. But we'll
that'll be good commentary.
Brady, let's do this. Brady, you go ahead and start it off. Talk about what weather fools, but start with Bill. I want to give Bill the opportunity to hit Governor Christie, and then we'll just beat the shit out of him since there's no doubt in anybody's mind who over the past week who the weather fool is.
Have you ever had a unanimous weather fool?
No, never.
Okay,
never.
Governor Chris Christie is obviously my choice, especially after
that'll be good. All right, so we'll hit that
this week.
And then Brady, if you can not linger too long in it.
All right, I won't.
I'll let you go ahead and close by saying all these examples will be posted on our show notes at stormfrontfreaks.com, and then turn it over to Maz.
All right.
All right.
Who's got resources?
Yep. Who's got resources?
I do.
Okay.
Bill's got one.
Good.
I've got one. Let me. I emailed it to myself, so let me find it. Hold on. Excuse me. Let me find it. I got to find the email to myself.
Hey, while you're looking, is there going to be any place to find information from the symposium for tomorrow? Or from tomorrow?
Oh, like what time it starts and everything?
No. So that any place where after the fact people
speakers,
can go back and
notes and stuff like that. No, I've never seen them do anything like that.
I think they have a. I mean, they should have a speaker. Hold on, let me check the website. I believe they have like a whole rundown. They might even have their own website for this year's symposium. Let me check.
If that's the case, Brady, maybe you want to.
Yeah, let me confirm. Yeah, let me confirm. Okay. I will though.
Okay.
This is riveting video.
Even though it'll stay.
Yes.
You mean right now, us?
Right now, yes, exactly.
Yeah, anybody watching right now, they've tuned us out. Screw those guys.
There's more coming. Hang on, everybody.
It's the 5 people watching us on YouTube.
It's all guys. That's why. Bring on.
That's true. Yeah, we don't have the ladies.
Where are the girls?
Yeah, I've got the link. It's got all the speakers and everything on there. So.
Okay, so we got Bill, Phil, and Brady. You gonna do it? Okay. And Brady, are you the last one? Anybody else have one?
Sounds like that's it. And then,
Okay.
so Maz, if you can say all these great resources will be posted on the show notes located at stormfrontfreaks.com. Again, don't let us linger.
Gotcha.
If it's slowing down, get out of it. And then I will jump in when you're done saying that and go to MJ. Do we have listener comments or stuff you want to share?
I get just a couple quick ones.
All right, then we'll do that and I'll close us out. And you guys, anybody sharing their screen? I know it looks like Bill knows what he's doing.
I don't need to share my screen. It's just an article. So I'll just make a couple of comments.
Then we should be good. All right, so Brady, you're taking it out of the break.
All right, let's do it.
Everybody ready? All right, here we go. Brady in 3, 2.
Welcome back to the podcast, guys. It's time for everyone's favorite part of the podcast, Weather Fools. We're basically going to be talking about something silly or something stupid that someone, I'm just going to, not going to sugarcoat it here, something stupid that someone might have done the past week or two with regards to the weather. So
hey, I love Brady. I love how when you talk, you're like looking out somewhere. I'm glad you're not being a TV meteorologist because you never look at the camera. You're like looking off.
Well, here's the deal.
You're great for audio.
When I talk, it's just I just like to look off like I'm looking into space because that's
and it works.
I'm a dreamer, Phil. I'm a dreamer. All right. So first, Bill, let's take away. What is your weather fool this week?
Well, my weather fool this week is an easy one. Governor Chris Christie of New Jersey with his comments after Winter Storm Stella.
Unbelievable.
Yeah,
that's mine too.
How soon
that's
they
mine
forget.
Too.
Oh no, we have a unanimous weather fool.
That's the first. I'll tell you what.
First time ever.
We've been doing this for 23 episodes, and that's never happened. We got to have some sort of sound effect or some sort of applause for that because that's.
Well, I'm trying to share my screen, and now we're doing applause. I can't do all that at the same time.
That's all right. That's all right.
That is a first. We've never had a unanimous weather fool. So either it's been a slow couple weeks, or there's just obviously no one who's a bigger weather fool than Governor Chris Christie. So I guess for our listeners and viewers that don't know, Bill, tell us, I guess, what he did and why that was the issue.
You guys know, I mean, Gary Zutkowski up there at Mount Holly is one of the best MICs in Weather Service history, probably. And, they went through Hurricane Sandy. I think a lot of the stuff that the Weather Service did during that, was fantastic. And for him to get up there and say, have the nerve to say that he's about had it with the National Weather Service, and it's like, come on, please. So anyway, he wins my nomination this week.
Yeah, I can't imagine. And now, granted, I think everybody, for the most part, can understand a little frustration being a part of the general public. Sometimes, getting a certain forecast and it's not on, and I get that, I really do. But I'll tell you, I agree with you, Bill. If you're an elected official, you don't say that crap. No. What makes you? Oh my goodness!
Think about the credibility. I mean, think about next time. What that does to the National Weather Service. If anyone is a fan of Chris Christie, next time they're not even going to pay attention to the forecast, and that's even more catastrophic. When people don't pay attention to forecasts, that's when people get hurt. So that's why he's my weather fool this week as well, just because it's. I mean, oh my God, what a bozo! What a bozo! That's all I can say. But all right, well, we'll post the links and the notes to that on our website, stormfrontfreaks.com. And Maz, I believe we have some weather resources. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Brady. Weather resources, places you can find some of the latest technology, cool gadgets, any of the above that's obviously dealing with weather. And Bill, hey, you had it last time. Go ahead and do it this time too. What do you got?
I feel really special being on the show. You guys are amazing, and y'all let me go first every time. But today was World Meteorology Day, and the WMO is actually seeking folks to come along and put on their pictures for the new International Cloud Atlas that hasn't been published since the 1980s, and they're going to do one online. And so you can actually submit your photos of clouds, and they've already got a ton of them on there. So my pick of the week, which is your weather resource, kind of translates into the same thing, is the WMO International Cloud Atlas.
Bill, I had one of those from the 1980s. It was on my wall.
I love the That was a great
But-
I would kill to have one of those. I wish I could find it on eBay. It was
So when you say kill, how much are we talking?
I didn't know. Way to go, man.
All right. Hey, Phil, what do you have?
All right, so my weather resource actually just came up. Just came up as I was putting together our fun little lightning round with Kory, basically figuring out where a lot of the tornadoes and things like that tend to historically happen. And so this is the NOAA Historical Records and Trends page. And what's great about this is where I found because we're potentially looking at heading out to Tornado Alley for the storm chase season, maybe spending a little time out there. I might be able to get my wife to come with me. I'm not sure yet, but it gave me an opportunity to look to see historically what month and what weeks of the month, for example, a lot of the tornadoes historically tend to happen. So there's just so much historical data on tornadoes, whether it's Tornado Alley, Dixie Alley, what parts of the country it happens. There's great maps to see where this is happening, how many, there's an average, which states tend to have the most tornadoes and when. There's just great resources historically from data for tornadoes. So this is the NOAA Historical Records and Trends website that we'll post.
That's cool. I like that.
Nice.
Awesome. Thank you. How about Brady? What do you got?
Well, so my weather resource this week. So by the time this show airs, it'll have already have happened. But it's the 2017 Severe Weather Symposium at The Ohio State University. There's going to be a lot of really cool speakers. And the reason why I bring it up, the reason why I bring it up is because we actually might have a video link. I'm pretty sure that we're going to have someone videotaping it this year that people can rewatch after it's over. So there's going to be Greg Forbes for the Weather Channel. A lot of you probably know of him. Seth Benu, who is basically he's the science director at the National Weather Service office in Wilmington. Ariel Cohen, who is an SPC meteorologist. He actually went to Ohio State, and he's just fantastic. So there's going to be a lot of really, really cool speakers covering a lot of really, really interesting topics. Anyone that likes weather and has a pulse is going to love it. So
I will add a couple things I'm going to add to that. Number one of the other speakers is a friend of the show, Jay Farlow, who's in Indiana, and he's really helped a lot of the weather podcasts out with this National Weather Podcast Month. So a little shout out to him. And Maz, I think you're going to have a presence there, correct?
Hey, the presents. I love presents.
Signing autographs.
presents.
Yeah, which is why I have all of my gear on here and all the Stormfront Freaks.
You're going to sleep in it tonight and head over in the morning.
Yeah.
You better believe it. Absolutely. I'm not even going to shower, just like Brady. How's that?
Gross. Hey, you know what? I shower at least once a day. So, bam.
Good to know. Hey, all these resources, by the way, are going to be posted on stormfrontfreaks.com, so you can check everything out. The weather fools, the weather resources, everything. And hey, aren't we getting close to going platinum or something, Phil, with the number of people subscribed?
I think we got another 10 years to go to get to weather brains level.
What does platinum even mean? I'm not even sure if that's
We got to suck it up and find a way to survive
for 100 people.
Yeah, 100 people.
All right, MJ, what do we have for listener questions or comments?
Hey, we had Chris White chimed in tonight about our conversation with Kory. It says, per the TV station use of chaser video, there are 2 stations here in Virginia that use chasers with severe studios. So
Cool.
Cool.
that's cool to know. And our friend Jimmy, who we've heard from a couple of times, chimed in after our last show, and he was wondering about our posting the podcast. And so I thought I'd explain to everybody again, just real quick. When we do the live video on Thursday, every other Thursday night, then we take that video afterwards, we chop it up and package it into the podcast. And it takes us a couple of days to do that because, most of us have day jobs. And so then we try to get that out on the weekend, usually by Sunday is when we get that out. So that just explains to Jimmy and the rest of the folks how we do that.
We have jobs.
That's well, some of us do.
Wow.
It's more like an
I
adventure.
have school. I have to do a lot of reading.
That's true.
Cool.
All right, so I'll tell you that about does it for this episode of Stormfront Freaks podcast and Stormfront Freaks Raw. Thank you so much for listening and watching. We really appreciate it and hope you enjoyed as much as we do. If you do enjoy the show, we always ask, leave us a review on iTunes so other people can find us. Special thanks again to our guest, Kory Hartman, but a special thanks to our National Weather Podcast Month guest co-host, Bill Murray. Bill, do me a favor, and I don't think really many people that would be listening or watching us that don't already know about the Weather Brains, but tell us a little bit about the Weather Brains podcast.
Well, we love doing what we do just for the fun of it. You know, it's sort of our creative outlet on Monday nights. We've been doing it for over 12 years now. We're approaching our 600th episode. We started out just sort of talking amongst ourselves for 30 minutes. Before you knew it, it was 45 minutes, and then it was an hour. And by then, we were inviting really cool guests. I don't know if you remember, but Jack Williams and Tom Skilling were our first two really big guests.
Wow.
And then we, just kind of tried to keep that tradition going. And, we just had some of the most incredible, minds and weather on the show. And I love, just thinking about the alum. I used to have a bell that I would ring till Span made me stop ringing it. Anytime anybody would, mention an alarm, I'd hit this bell and he'd be like, what is that incessant ringing? Stop it, Murray.
And it's still ringing in his ears today.
Yeah, and it is.
Is that still you?
We just love it. We love doing what we do.
Well, hey, we appreciate you having us on the show, Bill, and definitely, I mean, the Weather Brains podcast, I think led the way for a lot of us as far as being something to try and model something from
emulate
what you guys
is the word.
Isn't that great though? It's like you used to have Bud Light and Bud and Bud Light. And then you start getting all these cool, really craft beers, and now
thank God,
more demand, for
So are you saying you guys are the Bud and Bud Lights of the Weather podcast?
Yeah, we're the Bud Lights, and you guys are the snake handlers. We love it.
Or the blue moons. I like me a good blue
We're
moon
bitter.
over here and there.
We are bitter.
Well, just for all of our listeners and viewers, as a part of National Weather Podcast Month, don't forget to check out the other participating shows besides Weather Brains and Stormfront Freaks. There's the Weather Junkies. Those guys go. We had Dakota Smith on a couple weeks ago. They go on right before us every Thursday. There's Tornado Talk, which is great historical stuff on past tornado outbreaks, and wish we could have had Jen on this evening. There's Weather Hype, some great social science weather podcast material. Ice Station Houseman, which is some great conversation and some intriguing weather conversation. There's the Carolina Weather Group, and those guys have been doing that for a while as well, and we're looking forward to having some of us on their show in a week. And then What Is It About the Weather, which is just some great educational stuff. And really all of these weather podcasts have just great education. So we're really hoping this month it creates a little more awareness for people about weather podcasts, and hopefully you find something you like. Our next episode, as we're a bi-weekly show, is going to be in 2 weeks on April 6th at 9 Eastern, 8 Central. We'll be with Storm Chaser and National Weather Service research meteorologist Gabe Garfield. So go to stormfrontfreaks.com if you'd like to watch it live. But for MJ and Maz and Brady and our freak this week, Bill, I'm going to go ahead and signal the all clear, and we will catch you next time.
Peace.
Bye. Yeah, I want to congratulate y'all for getting your Weather Ready Nation ambassador thing. That was a really cool thing that Rick got us all started doing.
I thought
Thank
that
you
was
for following
outstanding.
that.
I
that's
agree.
awesome.
Yeah, it's
I
cool.
agree.
Thank you.
Everybody's
All right.
done it except one so far.
Sweet. All right. Thanks
No-
for listening
no
and
names will be
watching.
named.
Take care, everybody.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
See ya.
All right. Hey. Oh, and Bill just left.
He took off.